You're listening to the Bram Weinstein Show. Here's Bram Weinstein.
All right, welcome back. Very pleased to be joined by Tony Abbatine, who owns the company Frozen Ropes. So there's a number of his, I guess. Tony, is this a place where people go, or is this a system that you teach players how to use? I want to explain this right. What is Frozen Ropes?
Well, Bram, I think it's a combination of all three. Well done. We have facilities across the U.S. and Canada and Europe. Your reference to the Vision Clinic.
Yes.
I've never heard that before. Sounds like we've got diseases at our place.
No, not quite. In fact, you're working with some of the most high-profile athletes in the world, and Manny Ramirez raves about what you guys do. He has openly said that Frozen Ropes is one of the reasons why he is as good a hitter as he is. Why? What have you taught him to make him a better hitter?
Well, the whole visual component of hitting, just as a way of understanding what we do and what all of our locations across the country do. When you think about hitting, Bram, the reason why little leaguers and the major leaguers miss a ball sometimes has nothing to do with the swing itself. That those that have played at the highest level or even have played little league or really any racket sport know that the first thing that has to happen is the visual component of a sport. We need to see it before we hit it. Guys like Manny Ramirez, who are the elite players at the major league level, they see it sooner, they see it longer, and they see it clearer. That's a combination of him having good genes. He's been wired since probably day one to be able to have those great visual search strategies, and it's no different from really any other component of hitting and training. That this vision training now is such a big part. It's one of really the best-kept secrets now at the major league level. It's not talked about that much. You can't see it. When someone like a Manny Ramirez or an Albert Pujols or a Barry Bonds, when they're seeing the ball well, it doesn't show up on Baseball Tonight because we don't have any video footage of it. But understand, in order to have those great visual skills, the best players are doing things differently than others.
Okay, so what are you doing with them? You're doing laser work, is that correct?
No, we're not doing laser work. Again, I'm not an ophthalmologist. My background, I actually have a law degree, and the consulting work that I do for major league teams is really pitch recognition and understanding visual skills, knowing that vision has nothing to do with prescription eyesight. This is how quickly you can process, retrieve, and store information on a baseball field.
Okay, so you're helping someone figure out that ball is going to be a slider before the ball leaves the guy's hands.
We are experts in time to collision. Well said, Bram. Right?
Yes.
Whether it's the hitting coaches at the major league level that I consult with, whether it's our instructors at the Frozen Ropes across the country, right? We do a job and we try to make it so that it becomes easier to estimate time to collision, which in a sense is, can we see the ball sooner and can we estimate where that ball will be?
Okay, Tony Abbatine joins us from Frozen Ropes. Now, here's where the story gets extremely interesting. The New York media has picked up on the fact that obviously Alex Rodriguez is crushing the ball in the month of April. Manny Ramirez, reportedly, offered at least the advice of Tony Abbatine and Frozen Ropes to Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez, we thought, took up Tony on the advice and started working in this program, and then when asked about it after hitting 8 zillion home runs in a month, essentially denies the fact that this was something that helped him turn his swing around, turn his game around. Can you kind of fill me in on what's going on here?
You find that interesting, Bram, huh?
Yeah.
I think the one thing that I've learned in doing this for so many years, this is about, for me on a consulting basis, low profile, high impact. Let's just say the following. These are facts that happen. Manny Ramirez, as you said, at the major league level is our poster boy. Manny and I met many years ago when I was working with the Boston Red Sox. A friendship developed. I was so impressed with Manny both as a person and as a player, and certainly his statistics. He's one of the best right-handed hitters in the last decade. Manny and I have spent the last 2 or 3 years together actually creating and coming up with an instructional video based upon pitch recognition. And during the course of the season, Manny will call and we'll talk about any new hitting drills or any new products that are out there that allows Manny to continue the edge. And we work with him and with the trainers with the Red Sox on making sure that he's staying on top of his game and making sure he's not getting bored with some of the products that he's seen before. Sometime in November, we got a call from one of Alex Rodriguez's dear friends. It was an exciting day for us, obviously, living in New York. our staff took the phone, and a gentleman said, "I'm calling on behalf of Alex Rodriguez. You might know who he is." Our staff certainly laughed at that. And we said, Manny Ramirez swears by frozen ropes and all the things that Tony's done. We need to have this information. We need to know the secrets of this hitting, and we need to get this information ASAP down to Florida. We are very excited about it. We actually asked and suggested that we were going to simply send the products for free. The gentleman who called for Alex said, absolutely not. We're going to pay the few $100s if you can have it here overnight. We're anxious, and Alex is anxious to take a look at this. The information was sent down there, and over the course of, I guess, a few weeks, the gentleman who called on behalf of Alex had called New York a few times wanting to schedule some follow-up work for me to meet Alex in Coral Gables, Florida, or in Miami, or initially Alex had desired to come up to New York, where we're based in Chester, New York.
To work with him personally?
To work with us personally. My schedule during December, January was rough. Obviously, Alex, as a great player, and his travel schedule didn't work out. And so we were never able to connect personally as a follow-up to the program. But what I can say, Bram, is that on Manny's recommendation, this great information was sent there. And again, knowing how great Alex has been this year, there's certainly many contributing factors to why he continues to be the greatest hitter in the game and why his month of April was tremendous.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of things. Sports Illustrated just did a story about this, about how the hitting coach helped him retime the front kick that he uses to kind of retime what he's doing. And I guess it's got to be disappointing to you, though, that you sent this to him. You know that he at least looked at it. It's possible it had a factor in turning his swing around. I'm sure there's a lot of things that helped turn his swing around, including just mentally getting himself prepared to play in New York again and maybe having a different outlook about it than he did. But to sit there and essentially deny that this is part of the reason why he turned around, it's got to be disappointing to you.
Well, Bram, it's really not. We can, as we say, you can only lead the horse to water. We feel very comfortable, and the fact that Manny Ramirez suggested this information, no different from so many other professional athletes that use our products and our training centers as a resource. It becomes very dangerous for us on a business standpoint to jump in front of this thing and take credit for it. Alex is a great player, and I truly believe that some of the products that we sent to him, whether it's him having a better understanding of how the head plays a major part in seeing, some of the stretch and flex exercises that might have made him a bit more aware of his blink rates, the head positioning, in the swing. Much has been said about Alex's swing as it relates to April of 2007. Yes, the leg kick is certainly smaller, but if you watch his breathing patterns, if you watch the blink rates, if you watch where his head is, not only in his setup but on contact, these are all things that a lot of our frozen ropes training program addresses. So
blink rates. You got to go back to blink rates. Blink rates.
Well, Bram, think about it. Okay, you're sitting in a bar, right? You're checking out the babes.
Yeah.
And you're a little nervous.
In theory,
because you're way over your skis. and all of a sudden, you get a little nervous. Clinical studies have shown that the more one is in a state of anxiety, a state of nervousness, those blink rates will be higher. We also know that when players and certainly professional athletes are at a state of calmness, in the zone, so to speak,
right,
those blink rates become much slower, and the eyes are in a better position to see. And so when believe it or not, with some of the high-speed video footage that we use, we actually take a look and measure the blink rates, knowing that nervousness, that anxiety, might be the reason why one isn't seeing the ball. Because we know that if someone is thinking too much, their visual skills will certainly be affected.
How do you convince somebody then that you should be calm when Mariano Rivera walks out on the mound and is about to face you in the ninth inning?
All preparation and practice, and understand that when you talk about pitch recognition and visual skills, a lot of it has to do with experience. You need to see Mariano Rivera's 92-mile-an-hour cutter 57 times so that maybe the next time up, you're not getting your bat taken out of your hand.
I think I'd be blinking a lot if I was 0 for 57.
I'm blinking now, and we're not even on the field. Just the mention of blink rates has me blinking.
Yeah. How did you get to this point? You said you're a lawyer. Is that correct?
Well, the one thing that over the last really 10 years, this has been a mission for me, Bram. When you go out and you find some of the best behavioral optometrists in the world, some of the best ophthalmologists in the world, people like Dr. Raymond Gregory, Dr. Jacob Lieberman, the Red Sox team doctor, Dan Labby out of Harvard, Dr. David Kirshon out of UCLA. What I needed to do back in 2000 when I first got my first gig with the Mets was make sure I knew everything that I needed to know about the components of the eye. From there, we needed to do research on motion perception, visual skills, scan paths, search strategies, and make it to the point that a major league hitting coach or a player could understand this. And certainly at the major league level, I can't start talking about blink rates and scan paths and ocular gazes. They'll laugh me out of the ballpark. What you need to do is make it for them to understand, well, how does this apply to me seeing the ball better?
Well, when I'm in the bar, though, I don't have a problem with blinking. I have a staring problem. Could you actually help me stop staring at them?
You've got the classic deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
Okay? The 220 hitters, the guys that never get to the big leagues, once they see that big fat curveball, or in your situation, that good-looking young lady that's looking at you, they bug. Tension levels in the eyes tell us that the bigger you bug those eyes, the less visual acuity that you'll see. So what you're going to have to do next time when you see the good-looking babe, monitor your blink rates, and have what we call that soft, open focus. You need to be seeing so much without looking and staring at any particular part of her body.
So
you'll be in a better position to see her, possibly engage in a conversation.
This sounds like spy work almost. See, but not really stare.
Open focus, and that's a behavioral optometrist word. Open focus talks about seeing without looking. That's what Manny Ramirez does when he's in the zone. You see so much more when the mind and the eyes are not preoccupied into looking at one particular part, in this case, a pitcher's delivery or his hand.
All right, last thing for you before I let you go, because I know you've given us a lot of your time. I mentioned Mariano Rivera for a reason. You've worked with him, too. Is that right? So this isn't just for hitters. You do this with pitchers, too?
We met Mariano Rivera 10 years ago, and the throwing program that Mariano has been on, and his pitching delivery has been, we thought it was so efficient that we built our pitching program around him. The weighted ball program that all of our facilities use, if you watch Mariano Rivera in the bullpen, you'll see him throwing an orange baseball. That ball weighs about 48 ounces, and it's his way of preparing himself to get ready to throw.
Huh. Wow. It's almost like a shot put, I ran track in high school, and then guys would throw around a grapefruit-like shot put that was heavier than.
And so when he throws a baseball, it just feels lighter to him, and so he can throw it faster?
That's exactly right. The whole premise behind overload training is that if you practice with something that significantly weighs more than the actual instrumentality that you'll use, right, both neurologically and physiologically, when you do put that 5-ounce ball in Mariano's hand, right, that ball is going to feel lighter, and he's going to be able to move his arm significantly faster, not to mention cutting down on his time to get ready to throw.
And it doesn't hurt his mechanics at all, right, throwing something lighter than that?
Well, you've seen him throw.
No.
What do you think of his mechanics, Bram?
I think they're pretty good.
They're the best in baseball if you look at it from an efficiency standpoint. So, no, there hasn't been any tweak in that delivery using that weighted balls.
And I imagine you don't just work with professional athletes. If anyone wants to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of Frozen Ropes?
Well, it's interesting. We talked about Manny. We talked about Mariano and Alex buying the products. What we typically do is how do we get a 10-year-old to put a ball in play? Right? How do we take an 11-year-old who hasn't hit in the month of April and just get him to dribble a ball to first base? That's really what most of our facilities do.
My parents gave me a soccer ball at that point in time.
Well, you know what, Bram? Had you met us or one of our staff, we might have been able to show you how to hit that breaking ball.
Yeah.
Tony, Dave Preston here. How do you deal with both sides of this Red Sox-Yankee rivalry when you're dealing with stars from? Do you feel any heat from Red Sox or Yankee fans saying, "Hey, you know what? Maybe you might not want to give A-Rod all this stuff"?
Well, you look at the major league teams. We root for Manny. We celebrate when Mariano's in, and knowing that Alex has looked at our products, we root for all three of them. It becomes tough not knowing who to root for. We find ourselves rooting for players now, Bram.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your time. Good luck with Frozen Ropes.
Thank you.
All right. That's Tony Abbatine, who owns Frozen Ropes, who At least Manny Ramirez, if you read all the stuff about it, openly touts how great this stuff is, and Alex Rodriguez apparently refuses to give any credit to anybody but himself.
Said that vision was everything. Yeah. Just being able to pick up the ball immediately.
Got to know what's coming.
Exactly.
If thing's coming 95 miles an hour, you have to know what's coming.
Right.
If you have no idea, how are you going to hit it?
Bill Bradley was another guy, former basketball player and senator, had great vision. He used to walk up and down the street at his hometown and try to pick up peripherally what was in the store window.
Yep.
He had phenomenal peripheral vision.
All right, we'll talk to Larry next. Larry Michael is live at Redskin Park. Sam Hollenbach, former Maryland quarterback, one of the undrafted free agents that the Redskins signed. We'll talk about that next. This is the Bram Weinstein Show. We'll be right back.
With lungs that gasp for breath from emotional stress with special effects. In a distorted collage, carefully locked.
This is the Bram Weinstein Show.